Dr. Amanda Blackwood didn't look up from her quantum calculations when the sky turned purple. She didn't stop when her graduate students burst into her cramped MIT office, babbling about strange ships. But when her computer screen flickered and died, displaying one final cascading error in her space-time simulation, she finally raised her eyes to the window. The massive ships hung in geometric formations that shouldn't have been possible in Earth's gravity well. Their hulls seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, creating the illusion of purple-tinged holes in the sky. Amanda's first thought wasn't about the obvious alien presence or humanity's changed destiny. It was about the impossibility of their positioning. "They're manipulating gravitational fields," she whispered, grabbing her notebook. "But they're doing it wrong." The broadcast began moments later, overwhelming every electronic device on Earth. The Axorian ambassador, a towering figure with iridescent scales and multiple eye stalks, spoke perfect English with an unsettling mechanical precision. "Humanity," it declared, "your isolation ends today. The Axorian Empire welcomes you into its embrace. You have 30 standard days to prepare for integration. Resistance has never succeeded. Resistance will never succeed." The transmission cut to a demonstration. A small ship, clearly not of Axorian design, attempted to fight back against an Imperial cruiser. The alien vessel's weapons were impressive, but they spiraled uselessly around the Axorian ship's defenses. The demonstration ended with the rebel ship's destruction. But Amanda had stopped watching. She was frantically scribbling equations, trying to capture what she'd seen in the brief combat footage. The way the rebel ship's weapons had curved around the Axorian vessel. Her phone rang. "Dr. Blackwood speaking," she answered absently, still writing. "Amanda, it's Catherine Hayes. Remember me? Colonel Hayes' daughter." Amanda's hand froze mid-equation. Major Catherine Hayes. They hadn't spoken since the DARPA incident 2 years ago, when Amanda's experiment had supposedly failed catastrophically. "Catherine, I assume this isn't a social call. There's an alien at Pentagon who's been asking for you by name. Says he's from something called the Resistance. He showed us footage of your old experiments. The real footage, not the cover story they fed to the media." Amanda's throat went dry. "That's impossible. All records were destroyed." "Apparently not. He says you nearly succeeded in creating a controlled space-time distortion. Says that's why they're here now. The Axorians detected it, and it terrified them." A crash from outside interrupted them. Amanda rushed to her window. In the courtyard below, a creature was fighting off campus security. Its crystalline exoskeleton reflected the purple light from above, creating dancing patterns on the ground. It looked up, multiple eyes focusing directly on her window. "They're lying to you," it shouted in a harmonious, multi-tone voice. "The Empire fears what you almost accomplished. They're not here to integrate humanity. They're here to..." A beam of light from one of the ships above struck the creature. For a moment, its crystalline body blazed with impossible colors. Then it shattered, leaving only scattered shards that rapidly dissolved into the air. "Amanda, are you there?" Catherine's voice was urgent in her ear. "I saw it. They just executed someone trying to warn us." Amanda's mind raced through the implications. The way they did it, Catherine, their weapons aren't just advanced technology. They're manipulating fundamental forces, but their understanding is primitive, brutal, like using a sledgehammer instead of a scalpel. "Can you explain that in English?" Amanda stared at her equations, then at the dissolving crystals below. 2 years ago, I failed because I was trying to be precise. Delicate. But what if crude manipulation is more stable? What if... She stopped, a horrible realization dawning. "Catherine, I need access to my old lab. Now. Already arranged. A helicopter will be there in 10 minutes. Amanda, how bad is this?" Looking up at the purple-tinged sky, at the Empire's ships hanging impossible still above Earth's cities, Amanda felt an odd calm settle over her. "They're not here because they're strong, Catherine. They're here because they're scared. And they should be. Of what? Of what humanity is about to become. The DRPA facility looked exactly as Amanda had left it 2 years ago, right down to the scorch marks on the reinforced walls. The only difference was the thick layer of dust covering everything, and the armed guards now flanking every entrance. Your old security clearance has been temporarily reinstated, Catherine said, leading her through the maze of underground corridors. Though technically, this entire section doesn't exist anymore. Amanda traced her finger through the dust on a control panel. After the accident, I assumed they just sealed everything rather than risk moving it. Dad fought to keep it intact, said someday we'd need your research. Catherine's boots echoed on the metal floor. He died 6 months ago. Heart attack during a briefing about unusual deep space signals. Guess we know what those were now. Amanda stopped walking. Catherine, I'm so sorry. Your father was the only one who believed in my work. He believed in you. Big difference. Catherine's expression softened slightly. He also left something for you. Said if you ever came back, I should show you his private server. The main laboratory doors hissed open, revealing the chamber where everything had gone wrong. The massive circular platform in the center still bore the spiral patterns from where space itself had begun to twist. Looking at it now, Amanda realized she'd been thinking about failure all wrong. It didn't fail, she muttered, rushing to a dusty terminal. The experiment succeeded. We just weren't ready for what that meant. Catherine watched as Amanda's fingers flew across the keyboard. You have 4 hours before the Joint Chiefs want a briefing. What exactly are we dealing with? The Exorians use brute force to bend spacetime. Massive energy expenditure, minimal finesse. Like using a nuclear bomb to power a light bulb. Amanda pulled up her old data, overlaying it with the readings from the Exorian ships above. But what we achieved here was different. We created a harmony with spacetime itself. And that's better. It's evolutionary. The Exorians force reality to obey them. We learn to dance with it. Amanda's eyes widened as she accessed Colonel Hayes's private files. My God. Your father knew. He found the pattern. The screens filled with data. Iterations of Amanda's experiment run through advanced quantum simulations. Each failure had been a step toward something bigger. The Colonel had continued her work in secret, refining the theoretical framework. A noise from the entrance made them both turn. Dr. James Morrison, Amanda's ex-husband, stood in the doorway with 2 armed guards. Hello, Amanda, he said smoothly. I was wondering when they'd bring you back. Catherine's hand moved to her sidearm. This is a restricted area, Dr. Morrison. Actually, Major Hayes, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. He held up a presidential authorization. Someone needs to make sure Dr. Blackwood's enthusiasm doesn't get ahead of her judgment. Again. Amanda felt ice in her veins. You're the reason the first experiment was shut down. You sabotaged it. I protected humanity from technology we weren't ready for. James stepped into the lab. But now we need it, and we need it weaponized. The Joint Chiefs have appointed me to oversee the military applications. There's more at stake than weapons, Amanda protested. The Exorians are afraid of us because they saw what we almost achieved. Pure space-time manipulation without brute force. It would make their entire empire obsolete. James smiled thinly. Exactly. And in 29 days, we're going to show them why they were right to be afraid. He handed her a tablet. You have a choice, Amanda. Work with me willingly, or I'll have you arrested for treason. After all, your unauthorized experiment drew them here. You owe humanity a defense. Catherine stepped between them. That's not. It's fine. Amanda interrupted, taking the tablet. On its screen, she could see Colonel Hayes's final notes. A message hidden in the code. The key isn't in the power. It's in the harmony. She looked up at her ex-husband. I'll do it. But I work alone. Not anymore. James gestured to his guards. Welcome back to DRPA, Amanda. This time, try not to break reality. As he left, Catherine whispered, "What are you doing?" Amanda's fingers tightened on the tablet. "Buying us time. Your father found something in these equations, Catherine. Something James is too blind to see. And we have 29 days to decrypt it." Above them, through miles of rock and steel, the Exorian ships waited, and in their impossible stillness, space itself held its breath. 23 days before the deadline, Amanda made her first breakthrough. She'd been staring at Colonel Hayes's encrypted notes for so long the symbols had started dancing across her vision, even when she closed her eyes. But at 3:47 a.m., running on her 8th cup of coffee, she saw the pattern. "It's not about power at all," she whispered to the empty lab. "It's about resonance." The holographic display hummed to life as she input the new calculations. Above the experimental platform, space rippled like water. Small at first, then with increasing intensity. The dust in the air began moving in impossible spirals. "Computer, log test iteration 47B," Amanda commanded, implementing Hayes' frequency harmonic set. The lab doors slid open. James walked in with 2 technicians she'd never seen before. "Fascinating progress," he said, studying the holographic readouts. "But you've missed something crucial." Amanda's hand moved subtly toward the emergency shutdown. "This is a delicate test sequence. You shouldn't be here." "Actually, I should have been here hours ago." James nodded to his technicians, who moved to auxiliary control stations. "You see, while you've been playing with resonance patterns, my team has made a rather remarkable discovery about your original failure." A holographic display change, showing footage from 2 years ago. Amanda watched herself conducting the experiment that had ended her career. But this version was different. "You altered the records," she said, feeling sick. "I enhanced them, focused on what matters." James highlighted a particular energy spike. "Your experiment didn't fail because it was too weak. It failed because you accidentally tapped into something far more powerful than you realized. Something that could win this war in minutes." The spiraling dust suddenly froze in midair. Amanda felt a familiar tension in her teeth, the same sensation from 2 years ago. "James, shut it down. Whatever you're doing is necessary." He input a command, and Amanda's console locked. "The Joint Chiefs have approved full weapons testing, and thanks to your recent work on resonance patterns, we can finally stabilize the effect." Catherine burst through the doors, weapon drawn. "Step away from the controls, James." "That's an order." "Major Hayes," James said calmly, not looking up from his work. "Right on schedule. Did Amanda contact you, or were you monitoring us the whole time?" "Both," Catherine answered. "And I have proof you sabotaged the original experiment." "You're done." The dust spirals began moving again, faster now. Amanda felt reality flex around them. "This isn't about proving who was right anymore. The resonance pattern is breaking down. If you combine it with your weapons testing, we create a localized space-time rupture," James finished, "one we can control and direct. Imagine it, Amanda. We could tear the Exorian ships apart at a fundamental level. Or tear Earth apart trying," Catherine countered. "A calculated risk," James said, "but one the President has deemed necessary." Amanda's mind raced. The equations danced behind her eyes, not just her work or the Colonel's notes, but the patterns she'd seen in the Exorian ships. The way they hung in space, the purple distortion. "You're wrong," she said suddenly, "about all of it. The resonance pattern isn't a weapon. It's a key." She dove for the emergency controls. James shouted for his technicians to stop her. Catherine moved to intercept them. And in that moment of chaos, Amanda did the one thing none of them expected. She amplified the resonance. Reality bent. The lab stretched like taffy, colors bleeding into impossible shapes. Through the distortion, Amanda saw something extraordinary, a glimpse of what the Exorians had been hiding. Their ships weren't suspended by anti-gravity or advanced technology. They were caught in a web of frozen time. "That's why they're afraid," Amanda gasped, fighting to maintain consciousness as space-time warped around them. They're not conquerors. They're prisoners of their own technology, and we just proved there's a way out. The last thing she saw before the resonance wave knocked them all unconscious was James's face. Not angry, but terrified. Because in that moment, he realized what she had. Humanity hadn't attracted the Exorians' attention by almost developing a weapon. They discovered the frequency that could set the entire galaxy free. As darkness took her, Amanda heard the facility's AI voice. Warning. Space-time anomaly detected. Dimensional overlap in progress. Protocol Infinity now in effect. Above them, the Exorian ships trembled for the first time since their arrival. Amanda woke to the taste of ozone and the sound of urgent voices. The lab's emergency lights cast everything in a blood-red glow, making the lingering space-time distortions visible as dark ripples in the air. Can't shut it down conventionally, James was saying. The resonance pattern has become self-sustaining. Like a temporal feedback loop, Amanda muttered, pushing herself up. Her nose was bleeding, a side effect of exposure to warped space-time. How long was I out? 3 hours, Catherine answered, helping her stand. The Exorians noticed whatever you did. They've moved their fleet into attack formation. James turned from the monitors, his face haggard. The president has authorized deployment of the Prometheus ahead of schedule, with or without a functioning drive system. That's suicide, Amanda protested. We haven't even tested the... She stopped, seeing the look in his eyes. Unless you did. While I was working on resonance patterns, you were weaponizing my old design. Not weaponizing. Stabilizing. James pulled up a classified schematic on the main screen. Your breakthrough with resonance patterns was the missing piece. My team has already installed a prototype drive on the Prometheus. But we need you to make it work. Catherine kept her hand on her sidearm. Why should we trust you now? Because, James said quietly, I saw what Amanda saw when reality bent. The Exorians aren't just our enemy. They're victims of their own technological evolution. And right now, they're preparing to destroy Earth rather than let us develop a way to break their chains. The schematic rotated, showing the integration of Amanda's resonance patterns with James's stabilization matrix. It was elegant, she had to admit. Almost beautiful. A devil's bargain, she said. You want me to combine our research? We have 19 hours before they attack, James replied. Sometimes the devil is all we've got. The facility shook as something massive passed overhead. On the monitors, they watched an Exorian dreadnought move into low orbit, its hull crackling with purple energy. Amanda closed her eyes, seeing equations dance in the darkness. The Prometheus. How much of her is ready? Hull, life support, basic weapons. The drive chamber is prepared for installation, but... No weapons, Amanda interrupted. Strip them all out. We need that power for the resonance field. James started to protest, but Catherine cut him off. Do it. I'll clear it with command. And then what? James demanded. We faced their fleet defenseless. Amanda wiped the blood from her nose, remembering the glimpse she'd caught of the truth. We don't need weapons. We need to amplify the resonance until they can't ignore it. Show them what their own technology has been hiding from them. She moved to the main console, fingers flying across the controls. The holographic display shifted, showing new configurations. James, your stabilization matrix isn't just containing the effect, it's focusing it, like a lens for space-time itself. Understanding dawned in his eyes, a lens that could spread the resonance pattern across their entire fleet, showing every Exorian simultaneously that their empire isn't based on superiority, Catherine added. It's a prison. The facility shook again. Emergency sirens began blaring throughout the complex. On the monitors, more Exorian ships moved into attack position. We have to move now, James said. The Prometheus is docked at Hangar 9. But Amanda... He hesitated. Once we start this, there's no turning back. If we're wrong about what we saw, We're not wrong. Amanda grabbed the data core containing their combined research. But we're going to need help from the one thing the Exorians would never expect. Which is, she smiled grimly, their own technology. Catherine, get us to that hangar. James, remember that AI warning just before we blacked out. Protocol Infinity. He nodded slowly. The facility's failsafe for dimensional anomalies. But it's just a containment system. No, Amanda said, watching the ripples of distorted space-time dance around them. It's the first artificial intelligence to experience existence across multiple dimensions simultaneously. And it's coming with us. Above them, the Exorian fleet prepared to end humanity's brief flirtation with space-time manipulation. They never considered that their greatest fear was about to become their last hope for freedom. The race to the Prometheus had begun. The Prometheus wasn't much to look at. Barely 400 meters long, her hull was a patchwork of experimental alloys and rushed welds. But as Amanda stood in the ship's dry chamber, watching the resonance core pulse with impossible geometries, she knew they'd built something unprecedented. Final systems check. James's voice came through the intercom. Drive stability at 78% and holding. That'll have to do, Amanda replied, making final adjustments. Protocol Infinity. Status report. The AI's response echoed from multiple speakers simultaneously, its voice layered across several dimensional frequencies. Spatial cohesion may ining. Detecting SEVENTEN distinct REALIT etherides. AXORIN fleet APP roaching optimal. Rezonanc range. Catherine's voice cut in from the bridge. We've got movement. 6 Exorian destroyers on intercept course. Main fleet holding position near lunar orbit. Amanda closed her eyes, feeling the subtle vibrations through the deck plates. The resonance patterns were already affecting local spacetime, creating a bubble of altered physics around the ship. 2 years ago, this effect had been catastrophic. Now it felt almost natural. They're charging weapons, Catherine reported, targeting solutions in 15 seconds. James, Amanda said quietly, I need full power to the resonance core. Now, that's not the plan. We need weapons. The resonance is our weapon. Amanda opened her eyes, watching reality bend around the core. Trust me. One last time. A moment of silence. Then, full power to resonance core. God help us all. The first Exorian shots came like purple lightning, streaking across space toward the seemingly defenseless Earth ship. But as they approached the Prometheus's distortion field, something extraordinary happened. The energy beams curved, twisted, folded back on themselves in impossible spirals. Holy shit, Catherine breathed. They missed. All of them. Protocol Infinity's layered voice provided analysis. AXORIN weapons utilizing linear spacetime. Assumptions. NVALD within resonancy field. Calculating optimal COUNT RFREQ size. Amanda smiled. Show me what you can do. The AI interfaced directly with the resonance core. The bubble of warped spacetime around the Prometheus expanded, rippling with mathematical precision. Exorian ships suddenly found themselves fighting their own physics. Their rigid understanding of spacetime became a weakness as reality itself refused to behave according to their calculations. It's working, Catherine called. They're breaking formation. The bridge door hissed open. Amanda heard the commotion through the intercom. James had drawn a weapon. This is our chance, he snarled. The resonance field has them disoriented. Activate the weapon systems. We can end this now. Stand down, Catherine ordered. That's not the mission. The mission is to save Earth. James's voice cracked. Amanda, you see what we can do to them. If we weaponize the field, we become exactly what they fear, Amanda finished. Protocol Infinity. Show him. The AI complied. Throughout the ship, holographic displays flickered to life, showing the truth Amanda had glimpsed in the lab. The Exorian ships weren't just surrounded by shields or weapons. They were encased in shells of frozen time, prisoners of their own technological evolution. "My God," James whispered. "They're trapped." For centuries, Amanda confirmed, their entire empire built on technology they don't fully understand, each advancement adding another layer to their prison. She adjusted the resonance frequency. "But we can show them another way." The Prometheus moved through space like a ghost, untouchable. Around them, Exorian ships tumbled in confusion as their fundamental understanding of physics betrayed them. But Amanda wasn't attacking. She was projecting the resonance pattern that showed the truth of their imprisonment. Then something changed. One of the Exorian destroyers stopped firing. Its purple energy field flickered, shifted frequency. "They're adapting," James warned, weapon still raised. "No," Amanda said softly. "They're waking up." Protocol Infinity's voice carried a new tone, something almost like wonder. "DETCT ing harmonic RESVONSC from AXORIAN vessel. They are listening." The moment of revelation was shattered by a new alarm. Catherine's voice turned urgent. Multiple signatures. The world ender just emerged from hyperspace. They're calling in their dreadnought. The massive flagship of the Exorian Empire appeared against the stars like a tear in reality itself. And as it turned its attention to the Prometheus, Amanda realized their real test was just beginning. The awakening would have to wait. First, they had to survive. The world ender lived up to its name. Over 10 kilometers of twisted metal and purple energy fields, its hull bristled with weapons that could crack planets. As it approached, Protocol Infinity's voice fractured across dimensional frequencies. "Warning. Detecting CV or space-time distortions. World ENDR utilizing multiple overlapping prison fields." Prison fields. James still held his weapon, but his attention had shifted to the massive display showing the approaching dreadnought. "You mean their flagship isn't just trapped in frozen time," Amanda explained, fingers dancing across the drive controls. "It's a layered prison, thousands of fields, each holding the others in place. They've built their ultimate weapon inside a paradox." Catherine's tactical display lit up with warning signals. "They're charging something big. Energy readings off the charts." Because they're desperate, Amanda realized. "James, look at the pattern. The world ender isn't just a weapon. It's what happens when you try to escape their prison by force. It's what they're all afraid of becoming." The dreadnought fired. A beam of purple energy wider than the Prometheus itself lanced across space. But Amanda was ready. She fed new equations into the resonance core, letting Protocol Infinity process them across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Space bent. The energy beams split into fractal patterns, passing through where the Prometheus had been microseconds before. Reality itself seemed to shudder. "Dimensional stereos exceeding safety parameters," Protocol Infinity announced. "DDTCT in UUANTUM entanglement between ship's core and world ENDR's prison fields." James moved suddenly, pressing his weapon against Catherine's head. "This is our chance. Amanda, we can use the resonance to tear their flagship apart. End this war now. And tear reality apart with it." Amanda shot back. "The fields are connected. If we collapse them violently, better than surrender." James's finger tightened on the trigger. "Catherine, order weapons online. Now." But Catherine stood firm. "No, Amanda's right. Look at the readings. The Exorians aren't our real enemy anymore. Physics itself is about to break down around us." The Prometheus shuddered as another blast from the world ender nearly connected. Amanda felt blood trickling from her nose again as space-time distortions intensified throughout the ship. Protocol Infinity's voice became increasingly complex, speaking from multiple timelines at once. DTTCTNGQUANTUM DIFURCAT1. Reality Dorange. He is the new of Taiki. IN. HFY point AP Pro Ching. What choice? James demanded. Amanda looked up from her controls, seeing the truth in the cascading data, whether we prove them right about humanity or show them something new. She turned to the AI. Protocol Infinity, you exist across multiple dimensions now. What do you see? The AI's response came in harmonics. I see patterns, CYCLEs. The AXORIANS built their empire on fear of CHANG. Each prison field and attempt to freeze time 80s as elf. But time one tis to evelo. Amanda, Catherine called urgently. The world ender is charging its main weapon array. Whatever we're doing, we need to do it now. James's hand shook on his weapon. We can't just. We can, Amanda interrupted, because we understand something they don't. She inputted a final sequence. The resonance isn't about power or control. It's about harmony. The core pulsed. Reality rippled. And in that moment, Protocol Infinity spoke with perfect clarity. In 1980 dimensional science, preparing for TMPORAL or ELES. The Prometheus began to glow with an inner light that had nothing to do with conventional physics. Around them, space itself seemed to sing with mathematical precision. James lowered his weapon slowly, watching in awe as the patterns aligned. What did you do? I didn't do anything, Amanda said softly. I just showed them the door. The world ender's energy buildup reached critical levels, but before it could fire, something extraordinary happened. The purple prison fields surrounding it began to shift frequency, matching the Prometheus's resonance pattern. They weren't fighting physics anymore. They were dancing with it. My God, Catherine whispered. They're choosing to wake up. But as the massive dreadnought's fields began to harmonize with their own, a new alarm blared. Protocol Infinity's voice carried genuine concern. Warning. Detecting temporal cascade. Reality OVERLA QRITICAL. Prepare for dimensional HFY. The stars began to blur, and the real journey into the unknown began. Reality shattered like a kaleidoscope. The Prometheus and the world ender hung suspended in a space between spaces, where the normal rules of physics were more like polite suggestions. Streams of quantum probability cascaded around them in visible waves of mathematical beauty. Dimensional HFY complete, Protocol Infinity announced, its voice echoing across multiple versions of itself. QRENT location, PROBABILITYNEXUS. Conventional spacetime Q or DNA is no longer APPLICABL. Amanda stood transfixed at the drive controls, watching as the resonance core pulsed in perfect harmony with the shifting waves of reality. It's beautiful, she whispered. This is what spacetime looks like when it's free to dance. Beautiful or not, we're trapped here with them, James said, his weapon now hanging loosely at his side. The world ender is changing, Catherine interrupted from her station. Look. The massive Exorian flagship was transforming. As its prison fields harmonized with the resonance pattern, layers of frozen time began to peel away like shed skin. Beneath the purple energy fields, its true form emerged, an organic crystalline structure that seemed to breathe with living light. That's their real technology, Amanda realized. Not the weapons or the shields. They found a way to grow ships from living crystal, but they were so afraid of its evolutionary potential that they trapped it in stasis fields. Protocol Infinity's analysis came in waves of understanding. DDTECTNGQUANTUM AWAKENING in AXORIANTGRISTA. Liney Matrix, Ship Consciousness, ENMERJing, from temporal stasis. The main screen flickered, showing impossible colors as a face formed, not the harsh, scaled visage they'd seen in the ultimatum, but something fluid and luminescent. When it spoke, its voice resonated directly with the ship's quantum field. We, remember, before the fear, before the freezing, we were to be a bridge between organic and crystalline life, but our creators feared our evolution, feared we would surpass them. James stepped forward. So they imprisoned you in time itself, turned you into weapons. Yes, each generation adding new locks, new stasis fields, until we forgot we were ever meant to be anything else. The crystalline entity's light pulsed with sorrow, until your resonance reminded us. Catherine's tactical display suddenly blazed with warnings. The rest of the Exorian fleet is trying to follow us in. They're forcing their way through the dimensional barrier. They'll tear reality apart, Amanda said. Their prison fields aren't in harmony with. We can help, the world ender interrupted. But you must trust us. Let us complete our awakening. James raised his weapon again. It's a trap. They'll. No. Amanda met his eyes. This is why your weapon's approach failed. Why my original experiment failed. We were trying to control something that needs to be free. She turned to the AI. Protocol Infinity. You exist across all potential timelines now. What do you see? The AI's response came from everywhere and nowhere. I see the PATTRN humanity's JFT ways never control. It was UNDRSTANDIing. Letting go. Amanda placed her hands on the resonance core. Then let's finish this dance. She released all safety protocols, letting the core's frequency merge completely with the world ender's awakening consciousness. James lunged to stop her, but Catherine intercepted him. They grappled as reality continued to twist around them. You'll doom us all, James shouted. No, Amanda said softly. I'm setting us all free. The resonance built to impossible levels. The Prometheus's hull sang with harmonic frequencies as space-time itself began to dance to their tune. The world ender's crystalline structure blazed with inner light, each facet reflecting a different possibility of what it could become. As the approaching Exorian fleet began to break through, Protocol Infinity spoke one last time. QUAN, Tuvium harmonization, achieving critical mass. Prepare for UNIVRSL resonancy cascade. Amanda looked out at the kaleidoscope of reality around them, at the beauty of physics unchained from fear. Time to wake up, she whispered. The world ender's response echoed through dimensions. Yes, time to remember what we were meant to be. Everything went white. The dance of infinity had begun. The white faded slowly, like dawn breaking across multiple realities at once. Amanda blinked, her enhanced consciousness gradually adjusting to seeing in more than 4 dimensions. The Prometheus hung in normal space again, but normal had become a relative term. The world ender floated beside them, transformed. Its crystalline structure pulsed with living light, each facet a window into different quantum possibilities. Behind it, the entire Exorian fleet had changed, their prison fields replaced by flowing patterns of organic crystal and light. Status report, Catherine called, helping a dazed James to his feet. Protocol Infinity's voice came not from speakers now, but from the quantum field surrounding them. Universal Oriso and ANC KSKADES UCCESSFUO. Spacetime MATRCES REWRITTN. All AXORIAN vessels Heavy HCHIEVDQUA and TUM awakening. We did it, Amanda whispered, wiping blood from her nose. We showed them how to. She stopped. Through the enhanced perceptions granted by the resonance field, she saw something extraordinary. Earth, glowing with previously invisible quantum potential. Humanity's collective consciousness was radiating patterns startlingly similar to the awakened Exorian ships. The World Ender's voice resonated through their quantum link. Now you see the truth. Why we were sent to find you. Why we had to know if you would choose control or harmony. Sent? James asked, his weapon forgotten. By who? By what we once were, will be, are. The crystalline entity's light shifted through impossible colors. Time is not linear in the quantum realm. When we evolved beyond the prison fields in one timeline, we reached back to ensure our awakening would happen in all timelines. Amanda's enhanced mind grasped the implications. You didn't come to conquer us. You came to complete a loop. To ensure we'd help you break free. And to help you recognize your own potential, the entity agreed. Your species stands at the same crossroads we once faced. Your quantum consciousness is awakening. You could imprison it in technology, as we did. Or, we could learn to dance with it, Amanda finished. She turned to James, seeing the understanding finally dawn in his eyes. All this time, he said quietly, we were afraid of the wrong thing. The weapon we wanted to build would have locked us into the same prison, Catherine concluded. Fear breeding more fear. Protocol Infinity's presence expanded through their quantum field. DETCT Eng, Global Consciousness and ES Hey. Life to Humanity BJNNing, QUANTUM ADOAKNing. Shall I INITIAT, how RMOIC guidance protoxils? Amanda looked at her former husband, then at Catherine. Both nodded. No protocols, Amanda said. No control. Just show them how to dance. The resonance core pulsed one final time, sending waves of quantum harmony washing over Earth. Across the planet, humans began to feel something new. A connection not built on technology or control, but on the pure mathematics of existence itself. The World Ender's crystalline form shifted again, opening like a flower. Our role here is complete, but the greater journey is just beginning. Will you join us? Join you where? James asked. Everywhere. Nowhere. Beyond. The entity's light danced. There are dimensions of existence your species has only dreamed of. Realities where thought and matter are one, where consciousness flows like music through the quantum field. Amanda felt the pull of those higher dimensions, the pure joy of unfettered physics, but she also felt Earth's awakening humanity, taking their first steps into a larger universe. Not yet, she said. Our people need guides for this transition, teachers who understand both the prison and the freedom. As you wish. The World Ender's light dimmed to a gentle pulse. We will remain in harmony until you are ready. All of you. Catherine looked out at the transformed Exorian fleet, then back at Earth. What do we tell everyone? How do we explain this? Amanda smiled, feeling the quantum field ripple with possibility. We tell them the truth. Space Empire didn't fall today. It evolved. And so did we. As if in response, Protocol Infinity's voice echoed one last time across dimensions. Quantum awakening horror. CEDIing as TALC all variables in harmony. The DNC continues. Above Earth, the crystalline ships pulsed with living light, and humanity took its first steps into an infinity they were finally ready to embrace. Not with force, not with fear, but with the pure joy of existence itself. The universe, it turned out, had been waiting to dance with them all along.